Michigan State, Michigan. As we were just recording the instant reaction show, we were sort of picking up pieces from the post-game press conference of the fight or the altercation, the fracas, however you want to call it, in the tunnel. Now we've got some action from Michigan State coach Mel Tucker. 4 suspensions: Tank Brown, Kari Crump, Angelo Groza, and Zion Young have been suspended effective immediately from what Tucker called disturbing electronic evidence of the incident. The cell phone footage of it looked like getting jumped. And it ties together with Penn State and Michigan, this whole 1 tunnel, 2 tunnel debate. It seems silly, but this is 2 times in this season that Michigan has dealt with violence, or at least the threat of violence, in that 1 tunnel in Michigan Stadium. We didn't get a chance to talk about it much on the instant reaction show, the fighting in general, but now, especially with the suspension, I felt like it was worth bringing up, even if only for a minute. What are our thoughts on what's happening in the tunnel?
No excuse for what happened. Those players that are suspended should, depending on all the evidence available, should probably be suspended for a while. Some serious, thought given to their ability to continue playing for Michigan State. But the larger picture to me is what you touched on, and it's what James Franklin brought up a couple weeks ago, and it's twice this season, but it's not just this season. This has happened in that tunnel plenty of times, and it's just a byproduct of only having the 1 tunnel. Because, like, when you play a football game, emotions are kind of high, and then you're having all these guys cram into the same tunnel to go to the locker rooms at the same time. And it's not like, I know that you do this in other sports, like in soccer, teams come out of the same tunnel, but there's 20 guys. When there's football teams, there's 200.
And pads.
Yeah, in pads, all angry, all just finished playing a football game in which they've been hitting each other for the last 3.5 to 4 hours. Just get a second route to the field for the visiting team. That would solve a whole lot of problems.
I'd be livid if I'm Jim Harbaugh, which he is. I'd be livid if I'm Mel Tucker, which I think he is. He has to, kick off 4 players potentially. You know why? Because if I'm Jim Harbaugh, I'm pissed because you had 20 guys jump one of my guys. And if I'm Mel Tucker, I'm pissed because you had 60 minutes to have a legal fight on the field. And that's what you gave me? Like that? Like, what happened to that? Like, why don't you go out and fight when you can fight instead of getting run all over throughout the game? And then when the number's on your side, you act like a bunch of punks and cowards because you have a 20-on-1 or whatever the number advantage you were, like the whatever number you had. I just thought it was an awful look. I think it is an easy fix like you're talking about, or it's just an easier exit strategy. Like, do some tradition where you stay out, which they do. I mean, I saw pictures of Michigan players out in the field with Paul Bunyan, with the picture and, the statue and holding them up. Just say, all right, you guys have 5 minutes to clear the tunnel. That's all it takes. Just get everybody off the field. We'll stay out here. We'll linger. I guess the only problem with that is if you lose, the losing team goes in first. That's it. Losing team, if it's Michigan, sorry, you got to go out first and let the other team celebrate their win. Rerouting the tunnel is also an option too, but it seems to me way cheaper. And you could do this starting next week. Is all right, we're going to let the losing team exit. We'll all wait out here and then you guys can go. But it's a blemish on college football, which we all love. And then it makes the sport look bad.
It won't be cheap. You just got a giant new TV deal that should help with that.
Yeah. Michigan still not paying the players. Okay, they have a couple $100 million they bring in every year. They can probably find a way to free up some money in the budget. But also, you should just be able to act decently and walk next to each other through a tunnel without fighting. I don't know though, man. I don't know what preceded this. Right? There's the whole talk shit, get hit thing, right? And who knows? I'm not trying to do like the blame the victim thing here. All we saw was the actual fight part. And aren't you supposed to get quickly to your locker room? I don't know. Who was lingering? Was Michigan State lingering? Was Michigan lingering? I don't know enough about the situation to really say something that's going to get me in trouble. I wish I had more info, like some footage of what happened before this.
What could he deserve what he got?
Hey man, like there's certain things not to say to a group of pissed off dudes. All right, sometimes it's best just keep walking.
Okay,
mess around, find out. But at the same time, like I'm serious. Like, should you jump him? Should you jump him? No. Should you know better?
3.5
Essentially, yes.
You were getting your ass kicked. All that was a bunch of people who were pissed off because they got the shit kicked out of them looking for somebody to take it out on. I don't give a shit what he said. Those were just, I can't use the word I was about to use.
All right.
But yeah.
Yeah. So two things here. Number one, all the guys who matter as far as like for the on-field thing, and Tom's probably interested in this because Michigan State plays Illinois this week. They play defense. Two of these guys are defensive starters. The other one, I saw the Michigan fans being like, why is this guy on Michigan State's roster anyway? He got kicked off Minnesota. So to Tom's point about like, should they continue to play for Michigan State? Maybe one of those is worth looking into if he truly got kicked off Minnesota. That's kind of a number of incidents there. I just wish I had more info on it.
There's also, did you see the video like the Michigan staffer who like turns and runs like scared out of his mind while a Michigan player is getting jumped? Like you should, like to me, that's a bad look. And I get you probably were terrified. And I don't even know if he's like a football coach. He's just a part of the program, but you're supposed to be the adult. You should get in there and protect your players. That's all I'll say. Like those guys on the team, I would lose a lot of respect for anybody on the staff. Even if it's an older athletic, I don't care who it is. You go over there and you say, hey, knock it off. And if the guy hits you with his helmet, so be it. Then you press charges. You got to go out there and defend your guys. I don't care. And then it's a quarterback. It's a walk-on quarterback. You better get out there and defend your guys.
Skull caved in, but at least I'm going to be getting a check from it.
Right?
The chat. Yeah, the chat was saying it was the director of football operations. I don't know if that's true. We
I don't
probably
care
should not
what
just cite
staff you
random
were
chat.
on. You're the adult and you're associated with either program. Like if I'm seeing multiple people in the chat say it was Michigan State, it was Michigan, whoever it was, you got to get in there and break it up.
Oh, and Michigan said they had additional security following the Penn State thing. Where's the additional security?
To your point, though, Danny, like what's the funniest, well, not even funniest, but the one aspect of this to me is that you're talking about the guy running instead of trying to break it up. This is all happening. And what are most people's reactions? Let's pull out our phones and record it. Nobody there was like, we should break this up. It was like, ooh, let's record it.
Yep.
We can put it out.
That is a cancer in our society. Like we wouldn't believe. Like that's what everybody does with any fight. No one wants to break it up.
I'm so glad that you brought up the staffer running away because I just put myself with like the internal monologue. Oh no! Fight or flight. That man is a capital F flight to his core.